It's a tribal gathering here at Mugello. We're really glad you can join us. I'm Matthew Roberts up in the commentary box. Down in pit lane, joining me, as always, is Nick Harris. And Nick, we're looking here at the helicopter shots of the circuit, and we can see the shadows of the clouds providing real patchwork over this wonderfully picturesque Mugello circuit. The Italian flag is waving stiffly in the breeze, but fingers crossed now. We've had 4 rounds this season that have been dogged by the weather. Well, except the first round at Jerez. The last 3, though, have been real question marks. What's it like down there now?
No, it's okay. There's a bit of a breeze, as I said, has come. I look up the main start and finish straight towards the hills in front of the start and finish straight. They're clear of any clouds. That's very, very important here. The weather forecast did say there was a threat of showery rain between 2:30 and 5:30. The race starts in half an hour's time. It's 1:30 Italian time here at the moment, but you really do get the feeling that it's going to be okay. I hope so. We've had races with Mugello in the wet. They've been pretty dramatic. Mugello, though, it's all about speed. It's all about noise. It's all about Valentino Rossi. It's also all about sunshine, isn't it? And there is, I can promise you, no better venue for a MotoGP race. I'd almost say any form of motorsport than being here at Mugello this afternoon. You are in for an absolute treat. I think Valentino Rossi made the briefest of appearances there somewhere in from his pit box. The crowd have gone absolutely wild. Loris Capirossi is also out, just having a look how things are going. Yeah, the atmosphere you could cut with a knife.
Yeah, we just saw Valentino Rossi. I know you're down there in pit lane, Nick. You can't quite see the screens. We saw Rossi come out to an army of support surrounding his truck there and through into pit box. Big smiles all around here. Here's his fan club getting ready for it. A big show. Que spectaculo is their motto. What a show. And what a show I'm sure we're bound to see here today. There is the fan club banked up on the Poggio Secco corner. And all those number 46, some of them upside down. We forgive them for that. It was a late night, wasn't it, last night?
It certainly was a late. Our hotel, where we stay, is 3, 4, 5 kilometres away. You lay in bed, you can hear the fireworks and the noise coming across the hills from Mugello. It's one great party from Thursday to Monday, and they absolutely thrive on it. It is fabulous. Absolutely. They know how to have a good time. They take their respective parts of the course where they have their fan clubs, Capirossi, Biaggi and Rossi in particular. It's like being at a massive, great football match. Everybody has too much to drink. Everybody has too much sunshine. But everybody goes home pretty happy.
Marco Melandri not without his official fan club, of course, and there, as you can see, a huge hot air balloon has just landed in the background there, with dropping a couple more fans off, perhaps. But
they got tickets. They probably had to check it. They got a sticker for that.
Well, that's one way to get past the security guards, isn't it, if you haven't? But
it certainly is.
Yeah, in the past, you know, Nick, we've seen the big fan clubs of Loris Capirossi, Max Biaggi, Valentino Rossi, and this young man here on screen now is really being the one that nobody's really talked about. He's come through the back door into MotoGP almost, even though he's the 250cc world champion, because of the hype surrounding the 3 Italians that were already in the Premier class. But Marco Melandri certainly making a name for himself this season.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, I've got Peter Clifford just standing alongside me. Peter Clifford's, of course, the man behind the WCM Blatter team. But we were interested. I was talking to Peter yesterday about this new regulation, Peter, 800cc in the year 2007. Is that going to change things much?
Well, I wonder why. You know, I wonder why we're going to 800cc. I don't really see it slowing things down, just making things a lot more expensive.
Will it make it safer? Because that's what they're saying. That's what the authorities are saying, that the bikes are too fast. But you know and I know they'll probably be as fast in 6 months.
Well, they will. If you just have to look at the amount of horsepower per cc a Formula One car is putting out, if you give us that much horsepower per cc for an 800, it's going to be just as quick. You know, I don't think it's going to make any difference.
What could they have done to make it safer?
Well, it's a difficult thing. I mean, motorcycling to a degree has been self-limiting for years because of the chassis and the tyres and so forth, and just the fact that you have to get the things around the corner. I mean, I suggested that we go down from 6 to 4 gears, thus forcing everybody to make the engines a lot more flexible and, you know, giving them less grunt out of the corners, and that would, of course, slow them down at the top speed as well. But that seemed to fall on deaf ears.
We will wait and see. 2007 800cc, but I think, as Peter Clifford says, they're probably not going to go any slower after about 6 months. Peter, thank you, and good luck in the race.
Thanks, Nick.
Peter Clifford there, of course, team manager for the WCM team with James Ellison and Franco Battaini. And just responding to that news there, as Nick said, it was confirmed yesterday evening that MotoGP will be reduced to 800cc engines in 2007. It's going to make things very, very interesting indeed, but will it make it any slower? That's the idea, and the general consensus is that it won't. You make your own mind up about that. We'll have to wait and find out. For the time being there, Makoto Tamada, he returns to action this weekend after missing the last round, and the last 2 rounds in fact, with a broken wrist. He's all smiles, and there his wrist definitely enough to throw a wave at the camera. Will it be enough to manage 23 laps of the Mugello circuit? He's qualified in 10th place. Here's Nicky Hayden, fresh back from that trip to the USA to promote the Red Bull USGP, the 10th of July, of course, and Nicky Hayden there qualifying 4th fastest today. Well, there is the scenes here at Mugello. Wouldn't you like to be a part of this? It's absolutely incredible. They've been here since 5-6 o'clock this morning. As you said before, Nick, Jakob Schmerz, the 250 rider, had to jog 2 kilometers to get here, and he set off at 6 o'clock and almost didn't make it into the circuit in time for 250 warm-up. Everybody's inside the circuit now. We've had it confirmed. 88,000 fans here, Nick.
88,000, that without a doubt is a record for Mugello.
Yeah, what was it, 75 last year or something like that?
I think it was, yeah.
13, they've squeezed somehow 13. They must have all come in on that hot air balloon, I think.
I think they did. I think, and also half of them have been in the paddock as well. But that's all okay, but that's even all part of it as well, isn't it? It's just, it's Italy, and you put up with a lot of problems to just feel what is going on here.
Valentino Rossi just looked at the TV screen there. You will have seen Sette Gibernau with the number 1 sign to the camera. He's all smiles, of course, Valentino Rossi. He is the number 1. Who will be number 1 today? It was close last year. 0.3 of a second separated Valentino Rossi and Sette Gibernau across the line. But Gibernau is the lap record holder, and he knows that this is a crucial race for his championship hopes. Alex Barros here, a former winner as well at Mugello, with Carlos Lovato, the former 250 world champion from Venezuela, of course, lending his support to Valentino Rossi, first of all, there in the Yamaha colours, but of course also to his fellow South American Alex Barros. Alex Barros actually qualifying 13th fastest today, but showing excellent pace on race tyres yesterday. It's a funny old session for Alex Barros. He really had some good pace on race tyres, stuck in a qualifying tyre and didn't go any quicker. Usually a qualifying tyre on its own is worth around a second a lap, and that would have propelled Alex Barros right up onto the front row alongside Valentino Rossi. But for some reason it just didn't work, and he finds himself down on the 5th row in 13th place. That's how tight MotoGP is. As I said, 0.9 of a second separating the top 12 riders here. And look at the scenes there. The number 65 and the number 7 of the Ducati riders, Carlos Checa and Loris Capirossi, and of course that Ducati sign there as well. That's the Corinthião corner, and all of them Ducati fans up there. Wonderful scenes here, and Nick, Ducati, a big chance here of doing something really positive.
They certainly have. I'm actually with Carlos Lovato, but he's having to answer the telephone at the moment, but he's answered it. Carlos Lovato, former 350cc World Championship. This is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good here. It's too many people for see. Valentino, Barros, Sette. I think Mugello is not the best. It's the very good circuit for the rider on the people.
I think you'd like to be out there riding with them 20 years ago.
I remember here with the Freddie Spencer. Good race, and I finished second. Freddie finished the race, speak me, Carlo, you are the best. I tell now, my friend, it's you because you win, me second place.
Carlos, great to see you. Enjoy the race.
Me too, thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant stuff there, Carlos Lovato, former 350 world champion, and enjoying the scenes here at Mugello. You just got the feeling from his voice then that you were with him, enjoying this as much as anybody else. A new hat there, well, helmet there, and a hat, in fact, for Valentino Rossi. He was given an honorary doctorate from the University of Urbino for his services to communication and promotion of the region, and he is now officially a doctor, as you can see from his helmet there. He's got the old mortarboard. He was wearing it the other day at the ceremony when he received the certificate. And Valentino Rossi, as usual, pulling out a new helmet design for his home Grand Prix. That's not Loris Capirossi, but that's his machine being prepared. And Nick, you've got to say, this is a serious bet here this weekend. Loris Capirossi, I know that you had a little flutter on him this morning.
Well, I may have done some hard-earned cash. I had a little bit of rush of blood to the head, and I did. And I think certainly he'll lead the race at some stage. If he'll hang in there and actually win it, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, watch out for Carlos Checa and Loris Capirossi from the grid. Capirossi in 6th place, Checa in 8th. But I know that Ducati, this is their test track, remember, and they did some drag tests at this circuit during the winter, and those bikes went from 0 to 267 kilometers an hour, about 170, 175 miles an hour in just 7 seconds by the time they hit the end of that straight there. It's like drag, it really is drag speed, and you just watch those two go from the 2nd and 3rd rows of the grid. Valentino Rossi on pole. He's going to have a job to hang on to that top spot by that first corner.
Yeah, I think Loris Capirossi said yesterday also, didn't he, that he really does feel he should be leading the race at the first corner. And I think it would take a brave man to say that he's not going to be doing that because of that drag speed starting from the 2nd row of the grid. You just feel that Capirossi will be leading the way to the first corner. There's a long, long way to go after that, and there's the reliability of the Ducati, the reliability of the tyres. We're just trying to cross pit lane here. About 5 or 6 people are almost getting thrown over there by Makoto Tamada as he comes through. Welcome back to Makoto Tamada, and the man himself, Valentino Rossi, passes me and goes out onto the track, and the crowd go absolutely crazy.
Well, the traditional pre-race routine there from Valentino Rossi as he makes his way out of pit lane onto the track. And this morning in the warm-up, the noise even then was just absolutely ear-splitting from this crowd. They've been handing out hooters up in the Valentino Rossi fan club section in the Poggio Secco corner, and the noise up there is something else.
They don't really need it. Preaching is enough, but that just sort of adds to it. I think mortarboards as well, isn't it, to help him with that doctrine in one of his local universities, honorary degree. I think a lot of them are wearing mortarboards as well.
Yeah, that's right. There you can see the signs go up as well. Valentino Rossi gives them a wave as he goes through Poggio Secco for the first time. It's that right-hander, the first of the left-right kinks on this circuit, and how he would love to be doing this in 23 laps time.
Are you ready, Bruce?
He was bet against him doing that, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be a real classic MotoGP encounter. The sun just comes out as I'm right alongside of Jerry Burgess and Valentino Rossi's team waiting for the rider to arrive. Happy to say there's no sweeping going on. Nobody's clearing away, putting any rubber down or anything.
Well,
it all looks pretty legal here at the moment. They're just waiting for their man to arrive.
Yeah, there's plenty of sweeping corners though at this circuit, Nick, that's for sure. We're taking a lap now of the Mugello circuit. This is the Poggio Secco corner where Valentino Rossi's fan club are. He goes left and then right, and then it's down to 4th gear, perhaps briefly, around 220 kilometers an hour into the left, Materassi corner, then it's right through Borgo San Lorenzo, the corner named after the local village here, and then this, one of the most beautiful sections of racetrack in the world, Casanova Savelli, first through Casanova, the right-hander, then through Savelli. It's downhill all the way, all the load onto the front tyre as they go down through here into Arrabbiato 1 and 2, two of the most wonderful corners, as I said, in Grand Prix. This one particularly, Arrabbiato 2, up over this blind crest over through the right. Can't see a thing, look at that. The rear tyres moving around, front wheel off the ground, and then it's back onto the brakes. They plunge downhill through the Scarperia right-hander and then left through Pelagio. Once again, it's kicking up back through the gearbox. Again, it's downhill, slight crest, and then into this Correntiao corner. You can see these shots were taken during qualifying on Friday morning. That stand empty on then, but now absolutely packed with Ducati fans. It's through the Correntiao, then into this Biondetti chicane. It's left and then right. So crucial to get your line right out of that corner to then line up this final corner here. The Vulcine left-hander, again, it's downhill. It's running away from you all the way around. Double apex through this second part of the apex onto the gas, and then the drag race uphill and across the line. That's a lap of Mugello. We're about to have 23 of them with 21 of the best riders in the world.
Are you ready, Bruce?
Well, quite thrilling just to see a single lap of that circuit from the onboard camera. As I said, 23 coming up with the 21 best riders in the world, and this one certainly at the head of them. He's at the head of them today. How long will it stay like that for? He's on pole position for his home Grand Prix. Valentino Rossi leading the World Championship by 37 points, the biggest points margin after 4 rounds since the current point system was introduced in 1993. 3 wins and a second place so far from the opening 4 rounds of the season. Alex Barros, the only man to finish ahead of Valentino Rossi in a race this year.
Tremendous activity down here now on the grid, as you can imagine. A lot of personalities, a lot of people just soaking up and enjoying the atmosphere. Valley, 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 that's all we can hear from the crowd in the packed grandstands away to our right. I'm standing behind the front row. Max Biaggi has got a cold or icy towel on the back of his neck. It's going to be hard work out there. Sete Gibernau has just arrived. He's just being introduced to Clarence Seedorf. Of course, Clarence Seedorf, who we spoke to before the start of the 125cc race. Valentino Rossi, absolutely surrounded by photographers, well-wishers, and really anybody else who wants to try and get on the grid and just have a very, very quick word with the man himself. We're trying to just get a quick word with Nicky Hayden in a minute if we can, which is in fact talking to another American, Randy Momola, so we better let him go first to see.
Well, we've got a brief glimpse there of Vitancio Lucio, the Formula 1 drivers come to watch some real racing here today.
That's right. Let's see if I can just get a quick word with Nicky, if we can just have a quick word. Nicky, conditions seem okay on the second row of the grid, and an atmosphere you can't believe.
Just to see the people, how much they love it. But yeah, we're in second row. We had a good go in qualifying and tried some stuff this morning. It didn't work, so we just went back to what we had yesterday. And you know, it's going to be a tough race. I definitely haven't found the confidence I wanted in the front end, but now it's just time to dig in and try to get with these boys and hang on.
Nicky, have a great ride.
Yeah, I sure hope so. It's my best qualifying result this year, so hopefully the race will be no different.
Thank you, Nicky.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Peace.
Nicky Hayden qualifying 4th fastest after challenging for pole position yesterday. As he said, not much front end confidence, and so important around the circuit with so many downhill sections, but hopefully we can see Nicky now really kick on this season and challenge for the podium once again today. Max Biaggi, meanwhile, also scoring his best grid position of the season. Not a bad weekend so far for Repsol Honda. We just saw Sete Gibernau there in 2nd place. Max Biaggi has qualified 3rd fastest, and he really does have a very, very consistent race pace indeed. He's a serious threat to Valentino Rossi and Sete Gibernau at his home Grand Prix. Max Biaggi has never actually won his home Grand Prix in the Premier class. He's had several podiums and victories here in the 250s. In fact, he's had 6 podiums from the last 7 seasons here. And the only time he didn't finish on the podium was in 2000 when he crashed. But he will be looking to put that right today. There is Nicky Hayden. We just heard from him, of course, speaking down with Nick Harris on the podium down there. Best finish of 6th so far this season from the opening 4 rounds. That was at France 3 weeks ago. Not the start to the season he was looking for, but as he told us, his best grid of the season so far this season. And now he is looking to kick on from there and into a podium. Well, alongside Nicky Hayden on the 2nd row of the grid is John Hopkins, and here a message for Vincent Haskevec, who was a former teammate, of course, of John Hopkins in the AMA Formula Extreme Series, and Vincent, who won the Daytona Superstock race earlier this season, is currently undergoing treatment at Rehabilitation Centre in San Jose. Best wishes from everybody in MotoGP out to you, Vincent. We know that you're watching, and we all hope you have a swift recovery.
I think John's just got a message from Vincent, haven't you, John? Just to wish him well.
Yeah, I wish him well. You know, it's a serious tragedy, and no racer wants to think about it. But I got to show my support and got to show my love to him, because no one wants that, and we just wish him well and wish him very well on the road to recovery. That's for sure.
John, have a great ride today.
Thank you.
John Hopkins 5th on the grid, and no doubt dedicating his performance today to Vincent Haskevec. And as I said, our best wishes from the whole MotoGP paddock go out to him. Alongside John Hopkins on the 2nd row, Loris Capirossi, and here are those 3,000 Ducatisti in that Corrential corner. What a showing it's been from the Ducati fans so far, and will we get a similar showing from the Ducati riders? Loris Capirossi won here on a Honda in 2000. The man who finished 2nd to him that day on a Yamaha is his current teammate, Carlos Checa. And as I said before, those Ducati's got incredible drag speed from the line. They've been testing it almost the whole winter here. The factory is only 60 kilometres down the road, and really, you've got to say, if the Ducatis are going to have a chance this season, this is it.
You're right, and certainly they're going to be wheeled on by some massive support here. And I think, as you probably said earlier, they were very, very impressed with their performance during qualifying on race setup and race tyres. That's going to be very important indeed, where you've got the likes of perhaps Alex Barros also maybe a man to look further down the field on the Honda, but was okay on race tyres and race setup, but had real problems on qualifying tyres. I think he's back in 13th place. So it's not always what you see qualifying. They go out for those last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of qualifying. They put on 2 sticky qualifying tyres. Doesn't always tell you the full story of what can happen in the race.
That's certainly true, and Carlos Checa here is an example of that. Nick Checa and Capirossi dominated yesterday afternoon in the final qualifying session on race tyres when the riders are working. It's an hour-long qualifying session, and the riders spend most of that time on their race tyres trying to just refine the setup for the race. And during that time, Carlos Checa and Loris Capirossi were very quick indeed, and it really didn't have the desired effect when Carlos Checa stuck in his qualifying tyre, wasn't able to kick on as he'd hoped and dropped down to 8th from the grid. But that certainly doesn't mean that he won't be up there in the race. I can almost guarantee you that he will. I wonder what's going through Shinya Nakano's mind right now. Who could forget that crash last season in the race here on the Kawasaki? Over 300 kilometres an hour down the straight, over the front of the bike. He was so lucky to get away with that. But Shinya Nakano, he likes the circuit, still holds the 250cc lap record here. He won the 250 race here in 2000.
Let's just put in and just have a quick word with Shinya. Shinya, another good qualifying position for you. Everything's set up well.
Yeah, everything's set up. And I think third row is not so bad. And my start grid is not so bad position. I think try to make good start and try to follow top guys.
And what an atmosphere here. It is quite incredible, isn't it? The people, the noise, the excitement.
Yes, so many spectators and very happy to race here in front of many fans. And I think for this condition, our tire choice is not so bad.
And no memories of last year, long gone.
Yeah, this year I try to I try to cross the finish line.
Shinya, good luck and thank you.
Thank you.
It's lovely to hear from Shinya Nakano. He certainly crossed the finish line last year. The problem was that he crossed it about 20 yards behind his bike. But let's hope that we don't see anything. I'm sure we won't see anything similar from Shinya Nakano today. Further back on the grid then, as we said, we've got Marco Melandri, Carlos Checa Nakano on the 3rd row of the grid, Makoto Tamada in 10th place at the front of the 4th row, and alongside him Kenny Roberts, the former world champion, in 11th place. And Kenny Roberts, who has gone 40 races now without a podium finish, and that run doesn't look likely to come to a halt here in Mugello this weekend. Really struggled for pace on race tyres and knocked around 2 seconds off his race time on a qualifying tyre, but it still was only enough for 11th on the grid. And as we said before, guys behind him with some serious race pace. This guy is one of them as well, Colin Edwards. Perhaps not quite the pace that, say, Alex Barros has just behind him, but certainly the pace to come through and challenge some of the men in front of him.
There's a lot of people further down the grid than they would have wanted to be, but could still challenge, certainly for a podium finish. We spoke to Shinya Nakano, alongside him is Carlos Checa, Marco Melandri, all back on the 3rd row of the grid, but they're men that are very capable of not only finishing on the podium and winning this race, and this is what's going to make it so exciting. What the first 12 riders within 1 second. Conditions now, I've got to say, Matt, are absolutely perfect down here. The sun has come out. Any sort of misty, cloudy stuff that was about has cleared away. It's very warm indeed. I would imagine tyre choice is going to be pretty important. Shinya Nakano seemed pretty confident he'd made the right tyre choice. The grid is slowly being cleared. You can honestly touch and taste the atmosphere down here. It is truly remarkable. And you've got to think that people like Valentino Rossi in particular, the pressure and the intensity rained on a single person. The whole of Italy, not only the 88,000 people here today, but the whole of Italy is focused on one man and one motorcycle. And that's a mighty big responsibility but he seems, as we've seen in the past, a man that is quite capable of taking that responsibility and really giving it his best. And his victory last year, the most emotional scenes you've ever seen, I think, at a racetrack when he won the Italian Grand Prix. What is going to happen this year? Just walking past him now, he's actually kneeling, or down, crouched down alongside his bike. He's in a moment of very, very quiet, solitary thought. Valentino Rossi has now put all other thoughts out of his mind. He's now concentrating fully on winning the Italian Grand Prix here in Mugello.
Also deep in thought there, Francesco Totti, the AS Roma player, watching from the pit wall, and also Clarence Seedorf, another footballer out there watching as well. And this is the front row. It's Max Biaggi on the outside of it, Sette Gibernau in the middle, and Valentino Rossi on pole. So if you are just joining us, you're just in time. Welcome to Italy for the 5th round of the MotoGP World Championship. We're at the Mugello circuit. We're going to have 23 laps of it, and just look at this starting grid. Valentino Rossi from left to right on the front row, on pole position from Sette Gibernau and Max Biaggi. Nicky Hayden, John Hopkins and Loris Capirossi on row 2. Watch out for a charge from Capirossi and his teammate Carlos Checa from row 3 in 8th place, where he's joined by Marco Melandri and Shinya Nakano. Makoto Tamada, Kenny Roberts and Colin Edwards on row 4. Row 5 is Alex Barros, Alex Hoffman and Ruben Schaus. And row 6, a very, very impressive performance indeed from David Checa, riding in place of the injured Tony Elias here this weekend, ahead of Troy Bayliss and Shane Byrne, Robbie Rolfo, James Ellison and Franco Battaini completing this MotoGP group.
Standing on pit wall and just waiting for the riders to go on this final looking lap, the final lap before the helmet lid goes down and the sparks will fly. As Matthew said, 23 laps of Mugello, surely the circuit that was designed with MotoGP in mind. This is going to be a tremendous race. Valentino Rossi win its 6th Grand Prix here at Mugello. Can anybody else beat it? Can Sette Gibernau perhaps bring a bit of Spanish fire in Mugello as they leave Reno to go up to the final Sochi?
Well, my commentary box, Nick, is right above the start-finish line. It's not often we get to see that. Sometimes we're often at the end of the straight or at the beginning of it, halfway down the grid, you don't get a clear view. But I can tell you, I can see right down on it, and the masses of crowd, I'm sure that you're amongst them down there as well. It's hard to see, there's so many people backed up on pit wall and on the opposite side as well, straining for a look over to that start line. It's going to be crucial there. I would get on the second row myself. Look out for Loris Capirossi coming through. That first corner there at the end of the straight, it's a long, long straight, the second longest on the World Championship calendar. It was the longest up until the Shanghai circuit was introduced to this World Championship. It's a long old drag to that first corner, and it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. And there is confirmation of the attendance here, as I said to you before, 88,367 people in here. How they've done it, I'm not quite sure, but this has smashed the previous record here at Mugello by a good 13,000 people.
That is an amazing crowd, and 87,000 of them, 527 are supporting Italian riders, and I would think about 80,000 of them are supporting Valentino Rossi, perhaps just a few less. There's so many people on pit wall at the moment that you know that they shouldn't be here. The marshals know they shouldn't be here, but they are here. They're loving it. They're taking photographs. They're having a great party. How the race is going to start, I don't know. It will start. We're in Italy. It doesn't matter.
On board here then with Loris Capirossi, they come through the Biondetti chicane there as they come round for the last time before this race gets underway to the Ucine corner. David Checa there on that Fortuna Honda. What a performance from him. 16th on the grid in his MotoGP debut, and that really is some performance from the World Endurance Champion, of course, a brother to Carlos Checa. I'm looking down, Nick, not just on pit wall, but across on the other side on the photographer's track lane there, the service lane. 125 riders, 250 riders, team managers, mechanics, they're all out there straining over the wall. I've never seen anything quite like this. The atmosphere is just unbelievable, and it's all due to start now. Get comfortable, 23 laps of the Mugello circuit. It's going to be action all the way. Valentino Rossi makes some final adjustments to his leather arrangement there on the Yamaha M1. He starts from pole position for the 27th time in his career. Out of those 27 poles, he's taken 22 wins. Will this be the 23rd?
Yeah, we're right alongside the front row of the grid now. Valentino Rossi puts the bike in the gear. The red flag is gone, the lights are red.
Loris Capirossi has got the outside line on the Ducati, but it's a good start from the two Hondas of Max Biaggi and Sete Gibernau. Here comes Nicky Hayden on the inside as well, but it's Capirossi who leads into the first corner, and his Ducati teammate Carlos Checa is up there too. I think in third place there as Max Biaggi gets the inside line. We're right here with Sete Gibernau, Max Biaggi, Rossi just behind him. Rossi dives up on the inside of Biaggi and up into fourth place, but it's Loris Capirossi on the Ducati who leads the way.
Well, he said he was going to make a great start from the second row of the grid. We went through all the figures. The figures were there for all to see. Capirossi on the Ducati leads the way. We knew he'd get a good drag. Now, can he hang in there? Well, I hope he does.
Capirossi leads from Gibernau, and now it's Rossi who already coming into Arrabbiata, down through Casanova Savelli for the first time and down into Arrabbiata, leading the way from Carlos Checa now in third place. Just behind him, Sete Gibernau, Max Biaggi, John Hopkins getting away well as well in seventh place, and Robbie Rolfo there on the Ducati absolutely flying as well.
Amazing start by Robbie Rolfo. On the screen where he is, but Valentino Rossi really wins business, doesn't he, in third place at the moment. Facing hard after the two men in front of him, but it's still the Capirossi on the Ducati that leads the way. They come up now towards the left-hander, right in front of the Ducati
Here comes
fans.
Valentino Rossi, dives up on the inside of Sete Gibernau. Rossi up into second through the Correntiao corner for the first time. Gibernau is now up to third place ahead of Carlos Checa.
Through the chicane they come, they're coming to the tight left-hander that brings them back into the start and finish straight for Chiini. So many races have been won and lost here before.
Here comes Gibernau on the inside of Loris Capirossi. Valentino Rossi leads the way now from Sete Gibernau. They come through the final corner, and it's as they were on the grid in the first two positions. Look out for Marco Melandri as well. Marco Melandri, who qualified in seventh place, is charged all the way now through to fourth. He's tucked in behind Loris Capirossi. They come down the straight for the second time. It's Rossi who leads the way. Here comes Capirossi. Look out for Melandri on the inside. Melandri takes two in one. He takes out Loris Capirossi and his teammate Sete Gibernau. Gibernau's course wide. Capirossi comes through, but Melandri is second. Here comes Gibernau on the fight back from Loris Capirossi. Pushes the Ducati wide and then gets round the outside.
There's this MotoGP or 125. Amazing stuff. Rossi leads. Melandri come from absolutely nowhere. Obviously caused his own teammate a few problems, but he fought back immediately. Melandri really means business in second place, doesn't he? Closing in on Valentino Rossi. Gibernau third, Capirossi fourth. Looks like Max Biaggi in fifth. Sixth place, Carlos Checa. Then Nicky Hayden. And then he just battles on further down the field. John Hopkins got a good start, didn't he? On the second row of the grid. He's in front of Shinya Nakano. We see Barros up into 10th place. Coming over Tamara Bayliss, Everett Rolfo and Hoffman.
What a start that was from Marco Melandri. The problem here for the rest of this field is that Valentino Rossi has got his way in the front already. Will now try and set a pace over the opening 10 laps or so that these guys will struggle to stick with. You look for the lap times, and the previous lap it was a 1:57.963 from Valentino Rossi. That will be reduced drastically on this lap, of course. This is the key to knowing what the true lap times are. Now here we will see the pass from Rossi on Loris Capirossi. We're on board with Loris Capirossi. He was into that downhill right-hander. And there it is, there's the Correntiao corner. As Loris Capirossi led the way to in front of the Ducati fans. Now then, Max Biaggi has now got past Loris Capirossi as well. Things not going as planned for the Ducati pair of Capirossi and Checa. An electric start to them, but already the wheels are falling off their attempt. And Valentino Rossi now stretching out at the front. The only man able to follow him so far is Marco Melandri. Capirossi is doing everything he can to make the most of that Ducati horsepower down the straight to get past Max Biaggi. But those Hondas aren't slow either. Max Biaggi holds him off.
It'll be interesting to see Max Biaggi's lap time the next couple of laps because he's certainly coming through well now, isn't he? There's Melandri confirmation.
Fastest man on the circuit.
1:53.38 for Marco Melandri.
Yeah,
His fastest lap.
That's a quick time, Nick. Anything in the low 50s, that's going to be the race pace here. We may see them dip into the 1:49s. I'll be very, very surprised indeed. But anything in the low 50s is going to be a podium finish here. And if Marco Melandri can keep this up, he's going to go all the way with Valentino Rossi. Here comes Max Biaggi, having a look on the inside of Sete Gibernau. What a start that was from Marco Melandri. And it's a new circuit record. In fact, he smashed the previous circuit record by almost 0.8 of a second, as you can see. 0.795 for the young Italian. He lies second in the championship to Valentino Rossi. He lies second in the race to Valentino Rossi. And that huge hot air balloon of his that brought those extra fans in today, it will be absolutely screaming.
Yeah, important now he can stoke. I think for the sake of the race, and even for the sake of the championship, very, very important that Marco Melandri can stay with Valentino Rossi over the next few laps. I would think Rossi's going to try and break the field up almost immediately. Melandri's got through from that bad start. Not bad start, but bad grid position. He's absolutely riding the wheels off that movie start on at the moment. Can he stay with Rossi? I think that is the future of the race and even the championship.
I think this race hinges on Marco Melandri catching Valentino Rossi, because Gibernau is dropping off the pace in the third place. Max Biaggi starting to give him some problems now as well. Biaggi looking to get through into third from Sete Gibernau. We'll see a challenge from the Roman Empire anytime soon. And as I said, we're keeping our fingers crossed here that Marco Melandri can catch Valentino Rossi and make a race of this, because otherwise Rossi's going to run away. Here comes Max Biaggi on the inside of Gibernau, down at the end of the straight. Is he close enough? He is. They come side by side into the right-hander, the San Donato corner, and Max Biaggi takes third.
Yeah,
runs it a little bit wide though, sorry Nick there, and Gibernau able to get back through.
He's come back again though, Max Biaggi. Biaggi just in front of him, absolutely side by side, but Biaggi has the inside line, and Biaggi just hangs on the third place. Now, it'll be very, very interesting indeed to see what sort of lap Biaggi can do with a bit of clear road in front of him, and if he has any chance of joining Rossi and Melandri at the front. I think he may.
Well, certainly, as I was saying to you before, Nick, in qualifying, Max Biaggi was one of those riders that had the pace. Marco Melandri was in the low 51s, and as I said, that new circuit record of his is absolutely stunning, because he's knocked a second off the pace that he had on race tyres already on the second lap. So obviously his team had found something in the warm-up this morning. He did have a few difficulties in qualifying Marco Melandri, but he certainly looks to his soul goals. He's closing down on Valentino Rossi down the front. And as you said, Max Biaggi looking to close the gap. The pace in qualifying: Carlos Checa, Alex Barros, Nicky Hayden, Loris Capirossi, Max Biaggi and Valentino Rossi, the only men to lap in the 150s. And it really looked as though Max Biaggi would be the man to put pressure on Valentino Rossi in the front. And it's a real surprise for everyone that this man is Marco Melandri. Can he close in now? We're looking at the gap. It is 4/10 through this first split, 5/10 through the second split, 7/10 through the third split. Valentino Rossi is on the move.
That's exactly what the timing is telling us, isn't it? And it appears that he realises that Melandri has closed the gap a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what the gap is when they cross the line. Everybody peers away to their left. They go past me at about 210, 215 miles an hour. Rossi crosses now, Melandri behind him, and Max Biaggi, Gibernau, Capirossi, Checa, Hayden, Alex Barros up into 8th place after starting 13th. Tamada, John Hopkins down in 10th place, Colin Edwards 11th, Shinya Nakano 12th, 13 is Troy Bayliss, 14 is Alex Hoffman, and in 15th place Rubens Chows, and Kenny Roberts, the former 500 World Championship, in 16th place. What's the gap now?
7/10 to the second between Rossi and Melandri. In fact, Rossi taking 3/10 out of Melandri on that lap. Stayed the same through the first split as well, but it's a new circuit record for Valentino Rossi. And Rossi there going under the 150.3 of Marco Melandri. Valentino Rossi's time a 150.291. That is a new circuit record here at Mugello, and it's helped to extend his lead at the front.
Yeah, just looking at that lead, you just get the feeling you know he means business. You just get the feeling he's so wants to win this race. He had the opportunity right from the start to get into the lead early in the race, and now he's going to try and absolutely dominate from the front. What has Marco Melandri got left in his locker? Fabulous start by him, and he's still hanging on the tail of Valentino Rossi. But again, looking at the splits, Matthew, he's just not letting him get away as much as perhaps Rossi would want to.
Just taking an extra 10th though, Valentino Rossi through that section. That's what it's all about, isn't it, in a race like this? Lines are so important in this sort of track. It's suits smooth riding, it suits smooth lines, and certainly Valentino Rossi has got that. And once you can get into a rhythm, and once a rider like Valentino Rossi can get into a rhythm, it's just a case of taking a 10th out here, a 10th out there, and all of a sudden you've got a gap that nobody's going to challenge. And now, coming under a challenge is Seto Gibernau, who's lost touch with Max Biaggi in third place, and Gibernau is coming under pressure from the two Ducatis, with Loris Capirossi and Carlos Checa. The man on the charge, though, is Max Biaggi. It's a new circuit record for Max Biaggi. You said, Nick, it will be interesting to see what Biaggi does with clear track in front of him. Well, there's the answer, a new circuit record. Loris Capirossi passes Seto Gibernau for third place. And we talk about smooth riding, we talk about picking your lines and everything else, and that being so important in this circuit. Nobody in this championship is better at that than Max Biaggi, and he is riding out of his skin now. He is right up behind Marco Melandri, and he's going to try and make a pass on his young compatriot. 3 Italians in the top 3, Rossi, Melandri and Biaggi.
Yeah, Biaggi means business, doesn't he? Biaggi wants to get past Melandri. He's worried like everybody else, but Rossi's getting away at the front. He's riding very hard indeed for Max Biaggi. Melandri not making life easy for him, but he's going to get past him, and then has he got the pace to catch Valentino Rossi, stay with Valentino Rossi, or even pass Valentino Rossi. I've got to say, it's a disappointing display by Seto Gibernau. He rode so well in qualifying. I think everybody felt that he had a chance.
Here comes Biaggi up on the inside of Marco Melandri into the right hander, runs it a little bit wider. It doesn't matter as they flick it tight left. And now Biaggi up to second place again. Really track in front of him. He will now start to pick his lines. Oh, and there goes Gibernau. Seto Gibernau has gone. Is that the MotoGP World Championship gone for the Spaniard as well? You would have to say so. Seto Gibernau, he desperately needed a result from this race. He desperately needed to beat Valentino Rossi. That wasn't going to happen today, but now he's not even going to pick up a single point.
The crowd are going absolutely wild in the grandstand in front of Seto Gibernau's pit. They're on their feet. It's almost as Italy have scored a vital goal in a World Cup game. They are going absolutely crazy. They now know that perhaps Gibernau's challenge to Valentino Rossi in the championship is not going to happen. And in this race, whatever happens, surely an Italian is going to win.
Max Biaggi's not getting his own way with Marco Melandri at the end of the straight there. Melandri bravely gets past him, but a little bit too bravely perhaps, as he just runs it a little bit wide. The gap between Valentino Rossi and the 2 men behind him stands at 2 seconds. It's getting bigger all the time. He's just taken, what, 8/10 of a second out of these two on the last lap. It looks as though they're still in touch, but believe me, Rossi is just eking it out. A couple of metres here, a couple of metres there, and that, of course, is also important. Here, have a look at this crash with Seto Gibernau. Looks like a front-ender into that downhill right-hander. He's chasing Loris Capirossi after the Italian has just passed him, and there is his chief mechanic, Juan Martina on the left, and his best friend Edu on the right, and they can only look on despondently. Now then, Max Biaggi is starting to make some ground upon Valentino Rossi here. I did say that Rossi had taken, he was two seconds clear as they crossed the line the last time. Biaggi's taken 4/10 out already on this lap, and now Marco Melandri would perhaps be advised, instead of trying to pass Max Biaggi, I'm sure his heart is telling him to do, but just to use his head a little bit, stick him behind Biaggi and see if we can take him back up to Valentino Rossi and get back involved in this race.
Looking at Valentino Rossi's pit board, they're telling him Gibernau out in great big yellow letters, and it's saying 1 point, and they haven't put what it is. Biaggi is the next rider doing, but they are telling 46, the doctor, that Seto Gibernau is out of the race, and they're telling them the gap is 1.5 seconds between him and Biaggi.
Yeah, there is Melandri just behind him. Here comes Nicky Hayden on the inside of Carlos Checa for 5th place. So Nicky Hayden on the move, and he just manages to hold his line through the Boccini left-hander as they come now down once again. And there is that pit board that you so rightly told us about, Nick. Gibernau out, 1.5 seconds Valentino Rossi's gap over Max Biaggi. I can tell you now that is 1.3 seconds, 1.375 the gap between Rossi and Biaggi. Biaggi is catching Valentino Rossi here, and he's bringing Marco Melandri with him.
Just what we want, isn't it? 3 Italians. As I say, they celebrated when Seto Gibernau was out of the race, the Italian crowd. This is a big race for Max Biaggi. Not had an easy season riding for the official Repsol Honda Works team this year. Rode very bravely in Le Mans. Now this is his big chance to show everybody what he can do.
2 more tenths for Max Biaggi through that section. He's closing all the time. I just wonder how Rossi will react to this. Rossi's lap times dropped by almost a second on the last lap to a 151.365, whilst Biaggi pulled out a 150.6. As I said, anything in the 150s here is going to give you a podium finish. Max Biaggi's on it. Valentino Rossi on that lap, not quite. And Biaggi takes out another tenth, just over a tenth of a second here. And as you can see now, he's right between Rossi and Melandri. Max Biaggi absolutely on a charge here. Can he win his first ever Premier Class Grand Prix at Mugello? This, it seems, is his big chance to get one over on his old rival.
Oh, wouldn't it be getting one over in front of this 88,000 crowd, millions of television viewers. I'm just walking up now to the left on the kick. They look pretty calm, actually. There's a few smiles on their faces. This is the Max Biaggi they signed. This is the Max Biaggi they wanted to see ride like this. Of course, he's got a great success rate here at Mugello in the 250cc class, but not in the Premier class. And this is the Max Biaggi we know. This is the Max Biaggi that was signed by Repsol Honda. Now, can he close that gap even further on Valentino Rossi's great rival at the front?
Here it goes across the line. It's well under a second. It could be as low as 7 tenths here. Let's have a look. It's 4 tenths of a second between Valentino Rossi and Max Biaggi. There's no doubt about it. Max Biaggi is going to catch Rossi here. And it's another mid-51 from Valentino Rossi, Nick. He's lost 5 tenths of a second there to Marco Melandri. And I'm just wondering now if Rossi's struggling a little bit with something, because he's been hauled in here by the 2 Honda riders behind him. And Max Biaggi has got the bit between his teeth.
Oh, fabulous stuff. I'm now in the Repsol Honda garage. I can tell you, look, they haven't seen this sort of riding from one of their riders for a long, long time. This is the Biaggi we know. This is the way we know Max Biaggi can ride a motorcycle. Now, can he beat his great rival? And Marco Melandri, got to say, is hanging in there as well.
Yeah, fair play to Marco Melandri. He said before this race, the secret to a good lap at Mugello is to get into a smooth rhythm and not be too aggressive. Now, he's done that for the last few laps. It's worked well in his favour. Let's see how aggressive these three get over the second half of this race. We've only had, what, 7.5 laps of 23 here, 14.5 still to go. Biaggi takes out 8 tenths of a second from Valentino Rossi on the last lap. That was the previous lap to this one. He's closing down even further now. I can tell you the gap between them is 3 tenths of a second. And Valentino Rossi's got his hands full here. It was 1.5 the last time he saw his pit board. He's going to get a bit of a nasty surprise the next time he looks at it this time around. To be fair as well, Nick, the men behind him, they're a little bit stretched out, but they're not too far behind. Nicky Hayden in 5th place is just 3.9 seconds down on the race leader, Valentino Rossi. And if these guys now, there's no doubt Biaggi's going to have a little bite at Valentino Rossi at some stage here over the next lap or two. And if this can start getting out the handbags out and they start dicing around, we could see them bunched together again.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't think Biaggi's going to wait too long to give a great on-board shot. They go past me out on the track, but I'm also watching the television cameras. Biaggi right behind Valentino Rossi, touching speeds of about 212, 213 miles an hour. On the brakes, down through the gearbox. Second gear for the right-hander, not quite close enough. Biaggi's going to have a go very, very soon. Although, you know, Valentino Rossi is like being stung by a bee, isn't it? Once he's stung, he fights back mighty, mighty hard.
Yeah, it certainly is. There they go down once again, and they plunge now down through this left and right-hander. The Materassi, Borgo, San Lorenzo chicane, and now here they come through Casanova Savelli. This is where Max Biaggi's fans club are, and you can hear the hooters go and the crowds roar as they go down, plunge through this right and then left, and then down into the 2 Arrabbiata corners. And Marco Melandri is right there, Nick. We've got 3 Italians in the Italian Grand Prix, and this is getting very, very interesting indeed.
It certainly is. It's absolutely fabulous. It doesn't have to get a lot better than this, does it? Mugello, 3 Italians at the front, battling it out. It's absolutely superb stuff.
It could get a little bit better. There's a 4th Italian there, and they're looming in the background.
Absolutely, yeah, and he could join in the front any moment now. So let's wait and see. But Biaggi, not saying he's just backed off a bit at the moment, but he came right up with Valentino Rossi, just settled down a little bit at the front. Marco Melandri is right with him, and I think you're right. He rode very, very hard indeed to get through from that bad grid position. Got there, settled himself down. This is a different Marco Melandri than we've seen in previous seasons, isn't it? And he's now settled himself down, and he also is in with a great chance, but it is bunching up a little bit behind them.
Certainly is. Loris Capirossi is definitely not without a shout here in 4th place. He's currently 2 seconds down on the man in 3rd, Marco Melandri, but 14 laps to go as they cross the line. 13 laps to go as they cross the line, and they couldn't be much closer now. Marco Melandri's having a look up at the inside of Max Biaggi. Melandri fancies his chances for the lead here, and he takes it. Marco Melandri swoops into the lead of the Italian Grand Prix for what, half a second, runs it wide. Valentino Rossi back, Melandri back in front. Oh, and he runs it wide once again, does he? No, takes advantage of the right-hand flick and hangs on to the lead.
A quarter of the grandstand went mad when Melandri took the lead. 3/4 were silent. Then when Rossi took the lead back, every one of them was on their feet. The quarter and the 3/4 all together. What a race this is!
That's Marco Melandri's father there on the left with the moustache. He must be gripping onto his seat here. Marco Melandri, who won the 250cc race here in 2002. Here comes Rossi looking to get a run on him around the outsiders once again. This is why this circuit is so beautiful, Nick, and there's so many different lines, because of the left-right sweeps that you get. These guys can take an outside line around one corner to get the inside on the next one, and it just provides some wonderful chances for overtaking.
Doesn't it just? And Rossi, Biaggi just has a little sneak up the inside there, and Valentino Rossi not able to get through. Trying to break from the quarter. This is just fabulous stuff. And well, the money I suppose has got to be on Rossi, but Melandri and Biaggi are giving him a very, very hard time. Look at that, Melandri just running on board with Max Biaggi. Well, he should be a television producer, shouldn't he? You will not get better pictures than that.
That was incredible stuff from Marco Melandri, wasn't it? So brave, going down from around, what, 330 kilometres now, 330 plus, all the way down to 110 into that first corner. The G-force there and the strength, the upper body strength to stay on the top of the bike is absolutely incredible. And Marco Melandri is absolutely flying now. And I tell you what, as they cross the line, he's opened up a bit of an advantage over Valentino Rossi, and Max Biaggi doesn't want him to get away. Max Biaggi up on the inside of Valentino Rossi. They're side by side, the two old enemies, and it's going to be Biaggi with the advantage. As long as he can hold his line, he can't. Max Biaggi runs it wide. Rossi back through to second place, but Marco Melandri's taken up 3/10 of a second in the race lead.
A few drones in here, I can assure you, in the Repsol Honda camp, but of course while this goes on, Marco Melandri will be rubbing his hands in glee. One, they're scrubbing their tyres a good bit while they do this, and two, he's trying to get away from them. And you've got to say, Max Biaggi's not behind him for very long, is he? He's right back now. He's like a dog with a bone. He's determined to get past Valentino Rossi. He got past, did all the hard work, but so happens at that turn. He ran it wide, but he's right on Valentino Rossi's tail once again. I think he was worried that Marco Melandri might be getting away at the front, but you've got to say that Valentino Rossi is now close up right on Marco Melandri. And of course, he's brought Max Biaggi along to join the party.
It's not just Max Biaggi joining the party, Loris Capirossi's on his way as well. Here they come side by side once again, down the hill they swoop. Valentino Rossi back in the lead, on board once again we are with Max Biaggi. Look how close he is to Marco Melandri. It's incredible stuff here. They're around 200 kilometres an hour through that third, fourth gear, left-hander, and then down into the hill, into this Correntiao corner where the Ducati fans are now roaring on Loris Capirossi. Capirossi just lost 3/10 of a second actually through that section to this front group. So Capirossi, having pulled to within 1.2 seconds, is now out at just over 1.4.
Just get the feeling that Rossi said, right, game's over now, I'm going to break you up. So I think Biaggi now is really desperate to get past Marco Melandri. What he's really frightened of that Valentino Rossi will get away at the front. So I'm sure you're going to see Biaggi make a move very soon.
Here he goes, halfway down the straight, and Biaggi already pulls out of the slipstream of Marco Melandri. He wants this at the end of the straight. Here they go from just over 300 kilometres an hour all the way down to 150 as they enter the corner. They're still braking midway through the corner. Biaggi charges through on Marco Melandri, and that was a perfect example of the front working so hard here. Look at Loris Capirossi as well right behind them. But that corner, that San Donato corner, works the rider so hard, it works the front tyre so hard because they're still braking midway through the corner. It's a 270-degree right-hand corner, and that really takes it out of that front tyre. Loris Capirossi, as you can see, blasts that Ducati down the straight, pulls up now to within 0.8 of a second of this group. The challenge for Loris Capirossi and the challenge in general for Ducati is to get that bike working through these flowing sections, get that chassis right. And that's what he's been trying to do all weekend, to try and keep in touch with these riders now through the second half of this lap.
Well, this brings back memories, doesn't it? Valentino Rossi at the front, Max Biaggi just tucked in behind him. It's the old adversaries. You've got to say Biaggi is riding a quite brilliant race on that Repsol Honda. Hang in there with him. And let's look at Capirossi, as he without a doubt now is closing on Marco Melandri. You just wonder how much tyre wear Marco Melandri is used to get up to the front, coming through the field, and then a few of those manoeuvres just now. And he obviously took a lot out of the front tyre when he ran out of brakes, braking for that right-hander at the end of the start and finish straight. And Rossi is closing on him.
I was talking to Jürgen Fuchs, actually, the former 250cc German rider. He rode in the BMW Power Cup race yesterday, and he said that even on the BMW bikes there at the end of that straight, the front and rear lock as you enter into San Donato. And as you can imagine, with Marco Melandri leaving it so late and being so aggressive on the brakes at that point of the circuit, it really is going to have an effect on the tyres, even at this early stage of the race.
They race past me. Rossi leads. Biaggi's having to work very, very hard to stay with him. But he does. They close up on the brakes around the right-hander. Biaggi right on the rear tail there of the Yamaha. And as you can see, Melandri coming under increasing pressure now from Lawrence Capirossi. There was 3. There's now going to be 4. I don't think we're even at half distance, are we?
Well, it's looking like 2 groups of 2 just at the moment with, just over half distance. This is the 14th lap of 23, 10 laps to go, 9.5 laps to go. And it's absolutely flying by, isn't it, this race? Let's enjoy it while we can. It's going to be 9.5 wonderful laps, I'm sure, because Max Biaggi is making sure of that. He's not letting Valentino Rossi get away. This is what we need. We need another Biaggi-Rossi little scrap that will then allow Marco Melandri and Lawrence Capirossi to get back involved.
And you're not supposed to write the script, you know.
No, I'm just being...
Let them get on with it. I know the pit lane reporter's job is to go around and try and talk to people, isn't it, while the race is going on. Sorry, I'm watching the race.
We forgive you for that.
Thank you.
It's perhaps I'm being a little bit too demanding it, but it just looked at the start of the race as Rossi got away. I thought, oh God, here we go, this is it. Rossi in his rhythm, away he goes, and thank goodness it's not been like that. Max Biaggi, Marco Melandri going brilliantly to stay in touch with him, and Lawrence Capirossi joining in now as well. Just don't want to see that again over this last few laps. Rossi giving away. Really, I'm not saying I don't want Rossi to win this race, but let's just have some more wonderful racing that we've seen for this first 14 laps of this incredible race.
I think the first 14 laps are as good as anything you'll see in MotoGP, don't you? I mean, the circuit lends itself to racing like that. But Biaggi, Melandri, Rossi, and now Capirossi have absolutely ridden the wheels off those machines. Honestly, I said every time that there's a better World Championship Motorsport event to go to, please send me to it, because it cannot be better than this race here this afternoon.
Here comes Max Biaggi once again in the slipstream of Valentino Rossi. He won't be passing him this time, that's for sure. Look how they stood. Look at the kilometres an hour dropping still, all the way down to 95 kilometres an hour at the apex. Braking all the way on the lean from 300 kilometres an hour. Incredible stuff, not only from the riders, but of course from the engineers as well, to get those bikes able of performing that kind of stunt. It's incredible stuff. Now look at Rossi's fan club backed up there in the Poggio Secco corner. Now we're coming into Max Biaggi territory. Here's Nicky Hayden leading the way from Carlos Checo in 5th place. Alex Barros just 1.6 seconds behind them in 7th. They come now down through Max Biaggi territory. Casanova Savelli, they go right, then they go left. It's downhill, adverse camber. The front and rear is both working hard to keep in contact with the track here. And down they come into Arrabbiato 1 and 2. It's got a little bit bumpy around these corners as well with the Formula 1 testing here. They've got a blind exit now as they come up over the rise of this right-hander, the crest, as you can see it there, right, then plunge down onto the brakes through Scarperia. Marco Melandri crashed there in free practice Friday afternoon, and doing well so far to hang on in 3rd place. And hanging on is really the best way to describe it, because he's lost touch here with Max Biaggi and Valentino Rossi. And it looks to me, Nick, as though Biaggi is pretty comfortable with his pace at the front, just tucking in there in 2nd place, and maybe quite happy to see the back of Marco Melandri.
Just not sure. In fact, I was going to say, to be honest, I was just looking at the screen, I was thinking Max Biaggi's having to ride so hard to hang in there in 2nd place. He may be right, but certainly the gap is not increasing. He's certainly biding his time. Rossi just where he'd like to be at the front. I won't say he's dominating the race, but he knows that Max Biaggi is right behind him. Patrick Leclerc will come into it there this place towards the end. We saw it in the 250, we saw it in the 125. But at the moment, this is just raw racing incident as we ride with Max Biaggi. And once again, he closes on the brakes on the inside as they brake for the right-hander. It's going to go through.
Rossi very, very late around the outside. We saw that a few times in the 250s with Casey Stoner and Jorge Lorenzo both using that tactic, using all the track right to the outside as late as you like, and then they're able to just pull it across and block not only the entry into that right-hander, but also the exit going into the left. Well, Nick, just going back to the lap times once again, we saw that 150 from Marco Melandri, 150.117 from Marco Melandri early in the race, a full second inside the previous circuit record here by Sete Gibernau. But the lap times back down into the 151s now, a 151.1 from Valentino Rossi on the previous lap, 150 dead from Biaggi, 151 dead from Biaggi, 151.2 from Melandri, and 151.3 from Loris Capirossi. So the pace has settled down a little bit at the front between Rossi and Biaggi. And as I said, I think Biaggi quite happy to just tuck behind Rossi for the time being in second place.
I'm just going to put in, Matthew, because I'm with Carlo Fiorani, the racing director for Honda Europe. This is why you signed Max Biaggi, isn't it? This is a fabulous ride by him.
Yes, it's fantastic. We are so happy that finally he's again in front of the race. And it's a great show to see for Italians, for me that I'm Italian, to see that they are all four are fighting for the podium. So it's a great show. I'm very, very happy for Max that finally is come back.
Can he do it?
Sorry?
Can he win the race?
I hope so. It seems in a very good shape. So now we'll see. Now everything depends from the tires and how they can manage this last lap.
Those first 10 laps, Carlo. Motorsport than that, you.
Sure, right. It's a fantastic show.
I'll let you get back and keep cheering. I'll let you get back and keep cheering him on.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's fantastic.
Here comes Loris Capirossi.
Thank you very much, Carlo.
Loris Capirossi around the outside of Marco Melandri at the end of the straight. Marco Melandri doing very, very well indeed to hang on. As I said, those tyres have gone up. These four getting a little bit closer together now. 1.5 seconds the gap between Max Biaggi and Marco Melandri in second and third place respectively. And we look for that now. It's 1.3 through the first split, so 0.2 of a second in favour of Marco Melandri in third place in the chase for the two men at the front. This chase is not over yet. Max Biaggi just having a little sniff again at the inside of Valentino Rossi. You just get a feeling he's going to have a crack anytime soon, and it's there through the Casanova Savelli corners that he does it, right in front of his home support. His fans club absolutely going wild there. Max Biaggi now leading the Italian Grand Prix.
They are going absolutely berserk here in the Repsol Honda garage. Can you hear them? They are cheering, shouting, people are throwing their hats in the air. They can't believe it. Biaggi leads Rossi.
So now what will this mean for the men behind them as well? Marco Melandri and Loris Capirossi looking to get involved in this. Nicky Hayden and Carlos Checa around 1.7 seconds as well off the pace here, but it's still not over. We've got 6.5 laps to go, just over 6 laps to go now as they come through the Biondetti chicane and then down once again towards the Buccine corner. We'll bring them back into the second longest straight in the MotoGP World Championship, and after that there will be 6 laps to go.
And I know that nothing will spark Valentino Rossi off more. Max Biaggi going past him at Mugello in the Italian Grand Prix. He'll fight back, but Biaggi looks very, very strong indeed as they race past me once again.
On board here with Valentino Rossi. Once again we see that wonderful corner down from over 300 down all the way into 95 kilometres an hour. Here comes Loris Capirossi on the inside of Marco Melandri. Again though, just as Melandri has done previously in this race, runs it wide on the exit. These four are getting closer and closer together. The gap between Rossi in second place and Marco Melandri in third is around half a second. It could even be less now through this first split. Melandri is very quick through this split. It's now down to 0.3 of a second. Melandri is flying.
He certainly is. I haven't got a timing screen in front of me. I was just going to ask you, surely they are closing. They are closing. But of course, every time they do a manoeuvre, Capirossi does a manoeuvre like he just did, again it's got more rubber off that front tyre as he ran it a little bit wide. But it's so easy to do at that bend. But if Capirossi and Melandri do it in the front as well, it'd be great. And now looking at Nicky Hayden, who's having a very good ride as well on the other Repsol Honda, being closely followed there by Carlos Checa. At the front, Biaggi leads. Melandri and Capirossi absolutely right on the wheels of the machine to try and catch these two and then stay with them. But Biaggi leads away from Rossi. We haven't said that too many times recently.
Oh, that's certainly true. And now we look for the lap times once again. They dropped into the 152s, Nick, on that previous lap. That's what enabled Marco Melandri and Loris Capirossi to catch up there. 152 dead from Biaggi, 152.4 from Rossi, and Melandri was able to take 1.1 seconds out of Rossi on that lap, and it's closed up again. He just get the feeling that these two are the men at the front that can raise and drop the pace of this race as they wish. They're in full control of the race pace here now. The exit from Buccini corner again, we're on board with Valentino Rossi this time. And you just think that with 5 laps to go, these two have got it all under control. Who's going to win? Anyone's guess. But it's these two who are going to fight for the win.
It certainly are. Rossi on the brakes, thinks about going up the inside. Melandri's even closer. Capirossi at the back of them. You just know, we saw at Le Mans 3 weeks ago, less rubber on the tyres, faster Valentino Rossi goes. But Biaggi really is putting a fabulous fight up at the front. But Melandri now is right back with them. Capirossi just behind them. It just cannot get better. 4.5 to go. Biaggi, Rossi, Melandri, Capirossi, all Italians at Mugello. Wow, it just is superb.
Back into the 151s. The fastest man on that lap was Marco Melandri, the 151 dead. As you can see, he's pulled right up on the rear of Valentino Rossi now, and regardless of tyre wear at this stage, you've got to say the sheer horsepower of the Honda gives him a chance down that straight to have a bite at Valentino Rossi. I'm sure he will have another try before this race is over. Max Biaggi in control at the moment now as they come once again through this sweeping long right-hander and then plunging down the Arrabbiata and then into the Biondetti chicane, the Scarperia and Pelagio chicane, right then left and then down towards Correntia.
Who would you fancy coming out of that last bend if they were very, very close indeed with a drag to the line? You'd fancy the Ducati.
Yeah, perhaps not from 4th place, but I would certainly...
They had to be a lot closer than that.
But the Honda over the Yamaha without doubt. Yeah. One thing that Yamaha really worked on at Le Mans in the day test after the recent race was corner exit, because they know that they had to improve horsepower coming to a circuit like Mugello, but it's so difficult to just come up with a couple of extra horsepower. So what they focused on was corner exit, so that they know that coming out of that final corner there, Valentino Rossi has got a little bit extra. Whether it's enough to hold off the horsepower of the Honda, I'm not too sure, but that is what they've been working on.
And if it's not, he knows that he's got to get in front of him and try and put out a little bit of a lead before they get into that last bend. If he thinks it is enough, and he can, mistake there by Rossi, had to sit up, and that's just given Max Biaggi a little bit of a gap. Rossi certainly then, a little bit of tyre wear on the Yamaha, had to sit up, put the machine down straight away, and just gave Biaggi a bit of breathing space. Look at it again.
That's where it was. I'm not sure if that was a bit of a crafty move from Max Biaggi, to be honest. Runs a little bit wide, then pulls it back across, and then maybe I'm being a little bit cynical, I'm not sure, but perhaps Biaggi just rolling off the throttle a little bit there and giving...
pulling across him.
Giving Rossi a little bit of a scare, but once again they plunged down through Casanova Cervelli. It's an intriguing race, and I think you're absolutely right, Nick, and I think that Rossi, his plan has got to be to try and get back past Biaggi. How many times have we seen that? Certainly over Sette Giovinazzi is a perfect example. At Le Mans a couple of weeks ago, Giovinazzi got right up next to him, and then the last couple of laps Rossi went right, take out 2-3 tenths, and that is going to be enough. No matter what you do in the final corner, you're not going to make 2 or 3 tenths, and I think that's got to be Rossi's tactic now as we enter the final 3.5 laps.
I think it will be his tactic, but of course he's got to get past Max Biaggi, and Max Biaggi is not making life easy for him at all. If he can't get past him, if it is dragged to the line out of that last corner, I think you do fancy the Honda over the Yamaha.
About to come up to a back marker as well. I think it's Franco Battaini, another Italian rider riding the WCM. And in case you missed our news at the start of the programme, MotoGP will be going to 800cc in 2007. I'm sure you'll be hearing plenty more and reading plenty more about that in the post-race breakdown of this wonderful Italian Grand Prix. But for now, we'll concentrate on this year's race in 990cc machines, 330 kilometres an hour as they hit the end of this straight. Loris Capirossi once again up on the inside of Marco Melandri. Franco Battaini is going to have to get out of the way because he's got 4 of his quickest compatriots behind him. He's done it again. Loris Capirossi, you're right, runs it wide and Melandri through. There is Battaini, gets up sensibly out of the way, has a look round, and lets these 3-4 men go at it for the last 3 laps of this race.
2 or 3 times what the last 4 laps we've seen Capirossi get up the inside there of Marco Melandri. Each time though, he's just left it too late. He's run out of brakes and he's run it wide. and Melandri gets back at him. It's going to be between the two Italians at the front. It's definitely going to be between Biaggi and Rossi. I think this is going to be a battle for a podium decision between Marco Melandri. And Valentino Rossi has taken the lead from Max Biaggi. Biaggi goes up alongside him, and Biaggi tries to take the lead back, but Rossi is back in front. The crowd go wild now. Will Rossi try to get away? He doesn't fancy that drag to the line. Can Biaggi stay with him?
This is the turning point of this race. Absolutely crucial here that Biaggi stays with Rossi. Rossi's going to do everything he possibly can to escape Max Biaggi and pull out some vital daylight. He looks to be doing that already now. Valentino Rossi riding on the absolute limit of his Yamaha. Max Biaggi has got to ride on the limit to stay with him.
It's
no
over.
doubt.
It's over. He's just riding unbelievable race at the front, isn't he? Just look at that. No rubber on the tyre, and he's beginning to open up the gap. But Biaggi is trying, all he can to stay with him. But and Loris Capirossi was having problems at the back of that group. This next half lap, I'm sure, Matthew, will decide the outcome of this race.
This straight could decide the outcome of this race, because Max Biaggi realistically has got to get past Valentino Rossi. He's got to use the extra horsepower of the Honda as they come down this straight to make a challenge on Rossi by the end of it. Rossi's going to leave it as late as he possibly dare on the Yamaha. Biaggi's closing in on him. It's a battle, elbow to elbow, all the way for the final podium position between Melandri and Capirossi. Biaggi's unable to pass Valentino Rossi. Melandri is able to pass Loris Capirossi. Can he hold his line? Oh, he just has to pick his knee up and get out of the way. Can he hold the inside into the left-hander? He can. Marco Melandri hangs on to third place for the time being. They couldn't be closer.
They can't believe it. Nobody can believe it. What a race. This is the third place for a race we have for the Loris Capirossi has tried every manoeuvre in the book to get past Marco Melandri. Perhaps he should have come in that hot air balloon. There he is, look, trying to get up the inside of him. And on the brakes, Marco Melandri just holds him there. He cannot get past him. He's going to come back for another go without a shadow of a doubt.
1.5 laps to go. Biaggi is staying in touch with Valentino Rossi, but is he close enough? Here comes Rossi looking to get a run on Marco Melandri once again around the outside. Arrabbiata once again, and into Scarperia. Yes, Nick, you're absolutely right. The gap is probably not quite what Valentino Rossi would have wanted at this stage. It's not quite going to count for Rossi. It's 0.3 of a second. It could be crucial. Biaggi's got a chance once again now down the straight. It's the last visit to the straight. Biaggi's got to make it count.
He certainly has. The straight and the first right-hander are going to be absolutely crucial. He's got to be in this on the last lap. He's going to have any chance of getting near Valentino Rossi. The battle is still raging between Melandri and Capirossi. But now they come into the long left-hander that brings them back into the start and finish straight. What will the gap be when they cross the line? And can Biaggi do anything about it when they break for that first right-hander? This, I think, will decide the outcome of the race as they start their last lap.
Max Biaggi, for my money, is not close enough to Valentino Rossi. He's no closer now than he was a lap ago. 0.3 of a second. Loris Capirossi is past Marco Melandri. It's all going to count on the brakes here for these two. Here they come, Marco Melandri once again on the inside. Capirossi knows exactly where he's going to be. Moves out of the way, lets him through and says, OK, let's go. Third place is on the table here for Loris Capirossi and Ducati. It could be their first podium of the season. Marco Melandri is looking to defend second in the championship. Pretty much guaranteed with his teammate Seto Giovinazzi having crashed out of this race earlier on. It's the final lap of the Italian Grand Prix. Surely now, Valentino Rossi is not going to let this slip from his compatriot and great rival, Max Biaggi.
I think you're absolutely right. Rossi did it exactly right. He had problems getting past Biaggi. Once he got past, though, it was enough. And Valentino Rossi once again shows why he is the king of Grand Prix motorcycle racing.
Here they come through Arrabbiata for the final time, up over that blind crest and then down into the Corrential corner. Loris Capirossi getting a huge roar of approval there from the Ducati fans. 3,000 of them banked into that stand. He looks to have secured third place here now. We're going to come through the Biondetta chicane. Here comes Loris Capirossi and Marco Melandri. There are those fans. And Melandri's got to look for a way round there. Loris Capirossi into the final corner. Here they come through the beyond exit chicane. Valentino Rossi leading from Max Biaggi. One corner to go. It's a battle for third place between Capirossi and Melandri. It's hard to know which to watch. Here comes Marco Melandri on the inside of Capirossi into this final corner. Has he got the corner speed to carry it through? I don't think so. Valentino Rossi is going to win the Italian Grand Prix. Rossi takes the line ahead of Max Biaggi. It's an all-Italian podium, but who is it going to be in third place? It's going to be Loris Capirossi. Melandri shakes his head. He takes fourth place, and Carlos Checa snatches fifth from Nicky Hayden.
What a race, absolutely superb. And I'm in the Yamaha pit at the moment. I'll probably have a word with Jerry Burgess in a minute, but they're all hanging over pit walls, pulling Edwards through as he goes through. But that was a fabulous motorcycle race. And Valentino Rossi just showing us once again, when it matters, when it really, really counts, he has that ability to beat anybody in the world. Here's Jerry Burgess, got a broad smile on his face. I'll try and grab a word with Jerry if I can. Jerry, another great motorcycle race, and another truly great performance by your man.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, Nick, to see what he says. Very good race, Marco, Loris, 4 Italians, what can you say?
When it comes to the crunch, he just seems to do something with an extra every time.
Yes, I think his record is first that he does have that little bit, the others don't. And we've got it on our side.
Gary, congratulations.
Thanks, Nick.
And that's absolutely right, isn't it, Nick? It's just that little bit extra that Rossi's got over the rest, and that's all he needs to win a motorcycle race. It's that little bit extra. 3/10 in the end at the line. It was 3/10 last year over Sete Giovinazzi. It's 3/10 this year over Max Biaggi. And now Biaggi, well, at least for Max Biaggi, he'll be disappointed not to win here, but second place for him. Max Biaggi is back, a resurgent Max Biaggi on a MotoGP podium once again, and that is a big, big plus sign for him. And Loris Capirossi, what a ride into third place.
I'm just with Livio Supo now from Ducati, the MotoGP projects manager, on the podium at last. But my God, that was some race, wasn't it, by Loris?
Yeah, unbelievable race. I think both riders did a good job. I think Loris was really, we are in Italy. I think he put a big piece on his arm, and finally got a podium. I think all the team deserve it, riders and mechanics at home, everybody in the team. I think, no words.
I think just seeing the way everybody is celebrating says what it means to Ducati and to you personally.
In reality, it's not so far that we are not on the podium, because we finished on the podium in the last 2 races of last year, so it's only 4 races. But this season we have been so close to get it, and we never get it. So at the end, it's difficult to explain.
Go and enjoy it.
Sorry?
Go and enjoy it.
Yeah, sure.
Well, Livio Supo there, the projects manager for Ducati. I'm just looking down from the commentary box window, Nick, and we're on board now on the screen with Loris Capirossi. He's given an absolutely rapturous reception from his whole team there. His manager, Carlo Perna, leaped into the arms of the Ducati press manager, and they're all down there, hospitality members, cooks, chefs. Even I can see the chef down there. He's even got his apron on, and he's down there in park firm.
Hey, no supper tonight then.
Oh, the Craftsman man, and there's his girlfriend, Ingrid. Look, she's taking her shoes off. She's hurdling the fence. She's running through, and there she is for. Well, she stands about half a foot above Loris Capirossi, but they make a great couple. And look, no one is happier than her. Screaming into the Italian TV microphone, and well, what a performance as well from this man.
I tell you, he's getting a tremendous reception from his team and from everybody in pit lane. Marco Melandri, I'm sure he's going to be disappointed only finishing 4th place. But what a fight he had with Loris Capirossi. He didn't have a good qualifying session. He rode quite brilliantly, and there's hugs and a few tears all round. But Marco Melandri, I think, showed once again he is very, very capable of mixing it with the best riders around.
Sign of things to come, that, wasn't it, Nick? Let's not forget that apart from Valentino Rossi, and we don't know what his future holds, but the likes of Loris Capirossi and Max Biaggi in the twilight of their career now, and Marco Melandri so far this year has given every sign that he is the future of MotoGP. And there's Valentino Rossi's team with the motorboards on there, and Il Laureato, which means, well, the man with a degree, for want of a better expression. Having been given that honorary degree from the Urbino University for his services to communication in the arts, and I tell you what, there is no better artist in MotoGP. Perhaps his helmet designer, but other than that, Valentino Rossi is the man.
Certainly is. And once again, I think as Jerry Burgess said, he just showed when it really matters, he can do it, can't he? He can just produce it. But what a ride by Max Biaggi. That was Max Biaggi of old, wasn't it? And that's why Repsol Honda signed Max Biaggi to ride like that. But again, I think you're right. The future of MotoGP lies in the hands of a man I'm trying to get a word with. But the race absolutely surrounded by Italians at the moment. I tell you what, he's getting such a reception for a guy that has finished off the podium. A magnificent ride by Marco Melandri. And you just get the feeling he is going to win a Grand Prix race before the end of this season.
This could have been today, couldn't it? But again, Valentino Rossi and Max Biaggi just had that extra edge, and you've got to say, Max Biaggi is back to his best. But you speak to guys like Mick Doohan, Jeremy Burgess, this is not the right time to be criticising Max Biaggi, but it's this consistency that he's lacked in his career, isn't it, Nick? And as you said, that was Max Biaggi riding at his best, and that is what he's capable of doing. But unfortunately, over his career, he hasn't been capable of doing it consistently, and really that has been the story of his career and the story of his season so far in 2005.
Absolutely right. And I'm having a good old battle at the moment with the Italian press, trying to have a word with Marco Melandri. I think we'll probably have a word with him in a minute. He looks, I tell you, he doesn't look too unhappy about finishing fourth at the end. I think he's getting a terrific response from the fans outside the garage now. But I'll come back to you, but I think we'll probably have a word with Marco before we come to the podium ceremony. I tell you one thing, it looks hot and sweaty, I promise you that.
Well, I'm not surprised. 25 degrees here despite slightly cloudy conditions, and very, very humid indeed. It's very hot here at Mugello, and those 23 laps must have been absolutely gruesome, especially at the end. But it was worth it, certainly for Loris Capirossi.
Let's see if we can get a quick word with Marco. Marco, you may have finished fourth, but that was a truly remarkable race and just showed you can be up there with the very, very best riders.
Pushed a lot at the beginning. It was very exciting, but I had some trouble in the fast part of the track. I lost the first day because we tried some different sprint in the front fork, and I wasn't really with a good setup for the fast part, but I was quite fast in the slow chicane. But I tried to do my best, but in the end I almost went down a few times, about 5 laps to go, and when Capirossi passed me, I tried to push to follow him, but last corner I tried to go inside to him. I was very far, but anyway, I have to say sorry to him because maybe I was going inside very hard, but I felt so important to win the podium here. But anyway, for Italian ride in the top 4 is unbelievable for a Mugello crowd.
I think I speak for everybody. I say thank you to all 4 of you. That was an amazing race.
Thanks to everybody, and thanks to all the people. They are on the grandstand to see the race because they give me a lot of power.
Marco, thank you.
Welcome.
Well, that was wonderful to hear from Max Biaggi, of course, and Fred Flintstone style contraption there making its way now down the straight. There's all manner of two-wheel machines coming by in front of me, Nick. I've got scooters, trial bikes, push bikes, and then that bizarre oil drum contraption there trundling down the front straight here. 4 men bare-chested on a scooter, all standing up. It's quite incredible, the scenes here, but nothing to match what we saw in this race. Great to hear from Marco Melandri there, and as you said, Nick, our thanks to him really for providing such a super performance, coming through from 8th on the grid to challenge for victory here. The man who we've probably forgotten about, sorry Nick.
Carry on, please.
Sete Gibernau. We're seeing it here now, running at the front in the early stages of this race and crashed out. What a disaster for him.
Absolutely, and you get the feeling any chance we felt, he felt, everybody felt that he had, perhaps pushing Rossi a little bit hard to the championship has disappeared. So very mixed emotions in the movie star on the pit. But Marco Melandri, he was tremendous, wasn't he? And thanking everybody. I've had to come out of the back now of the pit. You can't go into pit lane, I can assure you, because there are thousands, tens of thousands, even more thousands of Italian fans just flooding onto the track. I think they called it, I saw the safety control before the race. They said they're going to try and do a slowing down lap, and this is going to be a controlled invasion. So controlled invasion this is, I can assure you. I'm safe, but I think a few people out there may not be.
It seems to be getting less and less controlled as this goes on.
And I happen to think that a certain gentleman who was going to be wearing his mortarboard and gown, who's just won his 6th race here at Mugello, is going to get that crowd into an absolute frenzy. It's one of those big, wonderful moments that you wait for in MotoGP and in all sport. A home winner in front of the home crowd, and he is going to get some reception, I can tell you. And just wait when they play that Italian national anthem.
Well, we're just watching the climax of this race, Nick, and that was the crucial point there, and Valentino Rossi passed Max Biaggi for the lead. Just a couple of laps from the end. Melandri and Capirossi had an almighty scrap for 3rd place, and Melandri there on air with us, apologising for attacking Loris Capirossi a little bit hard in the final corner, and I'm sure that Loris Capirossi, of all people, would have done exactly the same thing.
That, I think you are absolutely can be assured of. Any Italian in front of his home crowd would have done exactly the same thing. Marco Melandri is such a polite man, isn't he? Even sweat pouring off him, people pushing and shoving, the fans cheering, he can still apologise to a friend because he might have just cut him up on the last bend of the Italian Grand Prix and stopped him getting on the podium. It speaks volumes for him, and I think he is going to be the new star. No, he is the star of MotoGP, but I can definitely see him after this afternoon. I think for the first time I can say I'm sure Marco Melandri is going to win a Grand Prix race before the end of this season, and that is just what the sport needs.
Well, there you can see, just look at these scenes now down in Parc Fermé Blows. 3 Italian flags on the rostrum, and the best part, I've got to say, I'm looking at it now, there must be so far 20,000 perhaps who have poured down onto the track here, and I'm looking across, I can see right across the far side of the Arrabbiata corners over there on the top of the hillside, people are still running. It must be a good, I don't know, maybe even a kilometre away, and they're sprinting all the way down to try and get involved in this. It's a memorable moment. It's the kind of thing that people will talk about for years and years. I was there the day that Valentino Rossi, Marco Melandri, Loris Capirossi and Max Biaggi scrapped it out for victory here at the Mugello circuit. All smiles for Ducati and Loris Capirossi back on the podium for the first time this season. A wonderful result for them. 60 kilometres away from their circuit where they always mount the big screens for all the workers to take a break on a Sunday afternoon and watch the race. Max Biaggi, all smiles as well. I would imagine slightly mixed emotions for him after challenging for his first Premier Class victory at this circuit. But who could stop this man? Not even Max Biaggi. Who could have possibly done it? Valentino Rossi takes the applause. Valentino Rossi takes victory in the Mugello Italian Grand Prix.
We've got to think of putting some letters after his name, can't we? Honorary Doctor of Grand Prix motorcycle racing or something. He's got to have Rossi BMWC or something, hasn't he? What a truly great race. And I tell you then, that was a very warm shake of the hands with Max Biaggi, wasn't it? And I think both of them know that they've given them the best, given their best, and both of them pushed each other to the very, very limit. Good to see that, but just look at those scenes. We're in there somewhere, I'm not quite sure where, but Valentino Rossi has won the Italian Grand Prix here at Mugello. Another Italian, Max Biaggi, in 2nd place. Another Italian also riding an Italian motorcycle, Loris Capirossi 3rd. Pushed all to the absolute limit in as good a race for a podium finish you'll ever see by another Italian, Marco Melandri. The saddest man, though, surely of the day, Sete Gibernau, who crashed out.
Another Italian, Francesco Zerbi, president of the FIM, quite appropriately dishes out the trophies. 3rd for Loris Capirossi, 2nd for Max Biaggi. And listen to the noise now as Valentino Rossi raises the trophy for victory at the Italian Grand Prix for the 4th successive season. Well, people, as far as I can see from up here, Nick, and that camera angle there didn't quite give off the full extent of what you can see out here. It's just unbelievable. It's like some kind of, well, it's going to be Live Aid concert soon, isn't it, Nick, with all the big bands coming together once again to raise money for Africa. It's that kind of scenes here. There's so many people.
It is Hyde Park all over. It's going to be Hyde Park, Wembley all over again. It is amazing. I'm looking out of the window now. I've got up one floor. I've got out of it. You'll never see me ever again. There's banners, there's posters. There's the biggest crowd I have certainly ever seen on a Grand Prix track as I think we wait for the Italian national anthem.
The Italian national anthem continues.
They're singing away, although the tape has actually finished.
That is incredible, isn't it? And there now you get a real view of what we can see here from the helicopter camera. And the doctor, the official doctor, a doctor of many things, one of them communication and art, one of them without doubt motorcycle racing, and one of them entertainment. Valentino Rossi celebrates home victory for the 4th successive season. It's a tricolore podium at Mugello. He's joined by Max Biaggi and Loris Capirossi. The celebrations here will go on long into the night.
You really wonder, Matthew, don't you, where this is all going to end. Just looking at the World Championship points, I'm sure you've said them, but 120 against 71, Rossi and Melandri. This was a victory for Valentino Rossi. Again, though, this was a victory for MotoGP. It was a truly stunning race. The first 10 laps, I got to say, is as good as anything I've seen. And then the race, the two groups after that between Valentino Rossi and Max Biaggi, and particularly Marco Melandri and Loris Capirossi, superb. And just listen to that crowd now. I don't know if you can hear them where you are. Valley, valley, valley. It is just a sea of...